So we got two wartime dramas set in World War II this month, and they were both really great. So Allied is the newest film by director Robert Zemeckis, and if you haven't heard that name, if you're not quite sure what he's done, well, chances are you've seen plenty of his movies. Last year he did The Walk, he directed Flight, he's directed several cartoon movies such as Beowulf and A Christmas Carol and Polar Express. He's directed two famous Tom Hanks movies such as Castaway and Forrest Gump. And he's directed classics such as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Romancing the Stone, and by most people's understanding of what he's done, most people will recognize him for being responsible for the Back to the Future trilogy. I feel he's got quite the wide range of movies. But anyway, Allied is set during World War II, and it's not quite the wartime action epic that Hacksaw Ridge might be towards the last half of the film. This is definitely not like the wartime epic action movies and dramas such as Saving Private Ryan or Fury or several other movies of that nature. This is more of spies and espionage, and it's really handled well. In this movie, Brad Pitt is the main character, and he is a North American soldier. I thought he was American, but he might be Canadian. And he's not really a soldier, he's more of an intelligence agent, he's more of a spy. At the beginning of this film, he's sent into Casablanca. He's supposed to rendezvous with another agent, a French resistance fighter, played by Marion Cotillard. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm really bad with last names. They're supposed to pose as husband and wife, get close into this party, and assassinate a high-ranking Nazi officer. But as you've probably discerned from the trailer, they actually fall in love in real life, and they decide, you know what? We want to be together. Brad Pitt's character is stationed in London, and he takes her with him. They become husband and wife, they have a kid together, they have a life together. Everything is dandy. Until about a year later, well, the higher-ups start looking into her and say, you know what? Maybe she's actually a German spy. Brad Pitt's character is forced to cooperate with the higher-ups and perform an operation that will determine whether she is a spy or not. But all the while, he feels that she is his wife, she is the person he loves. This is not a German spy, and he is going to go out on his own to try to prove the higher-ups wrong. And essentially, that is what Allied is about. Now I have to say, I do like a lot of action movies, but I really like the espionage and the spy movies when they're done right. And for me, this movie was pretty gripping. But for me, I think this movie wouldn't be as good as it is for me if it wasn't for Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard. Those two were great together, spectacular. Now I will say Brad Pitt does play a very similar role that you'd expect Brad Pitt to play. He's this action hero, this likable guy, this family man. At the beginning of this film, he's more of the strong, silent type, the very detached person, because in his line of work, he can't get too involved with other agents. But as he opens up, he becomes more of the Brad Pitt we all know and love in other movies. But I will say he does have some great acting with the subtle moments, with the more internal conflict, and his expressions showing that. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but let's get into Marion Cotillard first, because she was absolutely stunning as well. In fact, probably a little bit more than Brad Pitt, because I don't know her all that well. I know I've seen her in movies, but I can't quite picture which movies they were. So unlike Brad Pitt, I don't know her normal style, her normal characters that she plays. She was extremely lovely, very likable character, and really great as well. She takes a bit of a different approach with her espionage style by showing a little bit more emotion and finding real, genuine feeling to her acting, to her spy work. So when she pretends to really like someone, when she pretends to be friends with people in order to get higher up and in order to get close into the party at the beginning, she really does care for those people. She says in the beginning of the movie she tries to keep her feelings genuine. or something along those lines. But because of this, this opens up to some really great moments in the film because you feel that she's so genuine, so kind, so loving that you can't quite picture her being a spy. When it comes to the moments where Brad Pitt has to try to figure out whether she's a German spy or if she's really the loving wife that he pictures her to be, whether it's all an act or real, you can't quite tell because everything feels so genuine that you believe her as well. And the moments that these two actors are on screen together are some of the greatest moments of the film, and even better than that is the moments after Brad Pitt hears his higher-ups say, well, she might be a German spy. From then on there, he has to act like everything is normal because he has to keep with this operation so that he doesn't get executed for high treason for not going along with the higher-ups' plan. So he can't tell her that people are onto her and think that she's a German spy, whether she is or isn't, because he believes she isn't. And so the times where he has to act normal and has to do pretty much go back into the spy world, go into his spy mode, it's really great because the two of them together doing their spy mode thing, lying to each other, not quite being truthful, and them trying to figure out who's lying and who isn't, it's really great. In fact, I have to say that those moments were more tense and more on the edge of my seat than any of the action sequences, which were all really great as well. So yeah, this is more of an espionage spy movie, but there are 3 action moments within the scene, 3 shootouts, which all were handled extremely well. One of the things I didn't mention about Hacksaw Ridge, and I forgot to tell it, but there's one little teensy negative I had with it. Well, there was 2, but they weren't negative enough to keep it from being a 5-star movie. But one of the things that bothered me in Hacksaw Ridge was whenever they had the blood splatter, there's many times where it was CGI blood, and it looked cartoony. This movie has CGI blood as well, but the CGI blood in this movie actually looked a whole lot better than Hacksaw Ridge. I don't know if it's because I wasn't expecting as much, or I wasn't expecting a lot of practical makeup like I was expecting in Hacksaw Ridge. Or maybe it's because it's done so quick and fast and tactical that I didn't notice it as much. So yeah, there are 3 action scenes in this movie, one of which you can probably see in the trailer or part of it, and they were all handled extremely well. Now, I've seen a lot of movies. Ultimately, many times I can predict where the movie is going, especially thrillers and especially movies that I've seen this type of movie before. And for the most part, I did feel this movie was predictable, but there are times when it did surprise me a whole lot, and that usually has to do with Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard's parts when they're together. There's so many moments, so many scenes where I'm like, okay, this is how it's going to play out, and sometimes, well, the majority of the time, the movie actually surprised me. Now, this is very much a romance movie as well because it's characters falling in love and then having to find out that one of them could be a spy, might not be a spy, who knows, and they have to deal with that. And with that big epic romance, there are some moments that could come off as cheesy, and I completely understand. For me, they worked. This is one of those movies that I highly enjoyed, but just not enough to be a 5-star movie or maybe even a 4.5-star movie. It's one of those movies I just really enjoy, but I can't quite pinpoint what it is that made it just really enjoy rather than just amazingly enjoy, you know? And maybe it's because I felt that the romance was a little too fast at the beginning to the point of less believable. I don't know, I think they could have dwelled on that beginning and on that mission a little bit more, and it would have been a little bit more believable with the progression of their relationship. And after the point when it's the big reveal on whether she's a German spy or not, I feel the movie went a little too fast because there's a few moments, and they're not huge moments, but there's some moments where it's like, oh, well, this is a surprise, and then they just go not brush past it, but they just go through it very fast to the point of but I haven't quite digested that whole idea yet, so Now, there's something about the ending that made it a little too fast to the point of just feeling like we got to end this movie really quickly. Let's end it. Boop, boop. They're good. Good. We're good. There's some great shots in this movie, great camera work, and when you see the trailer and you're looking at scenes in the trailer where it shows this great shot, and I'm just like, wow, that's going to be a really epic scene. But then when I saw those scenes in the theater, they weren't as amazing or as epic as I thought they would be. It's like the scene starts off with that epic, amazing shot that I saw in the trailer, and then it goes by so quickly to the point where I'm like, okay, I wasn't all that gripped by it. Or it came along so fast and so sudden that it just sort of brushed past me. One of the scenes I'm talking about is in the trailer you see this shot towards the end of the movie where the girl is having her baby, she's having the baby, and Brad Pitt is trying to help deliver the baby with the nurse, and they're running through the hospital as the planes are bombing London, and they're having this baby during this bombing raid, and it just, you look at that shot and you think, okay, those are the implications of it. This is gonna be one amazing epic scene, and it wasn't as amazing or as epic as I hoped it would be. But for the most part, I really enjoyed Allied. I can understand people not liking it. I can see how it will be disappointing to some people, but I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give Allied 4 stars. I might go a little lower in the later weeks when I actually go through all the movies I've seen in this year. But did you see Allied? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment below. And since I already asked what is your favorite wartime drama when I did the Hacksaw Ridge review, I'm going to ask, what is your favorite Robert Zemeckis movie? If you don't know all of his movies, look them up on IMDb, and here's the name below. Look them up on IMDb, look through the movies, and surely you have seen a few of his movies. And if you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and check out my other movie reviews of 2015 and 2016. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.